Welcome to Uncover the Human, where every conversation revolves around enhancing all the connections in our lives.
Whether that's with our families, co-workers, or even ourselves.
When we can be our authentic selves, magic happens.
This is Cristina Amigoni.
And this is Alex Cullimore.
Let's dive in.
Welcome back to this episode of Uncover the Human. We're going to do something we haven't actually really done. We always refer to our company Siamo, but it's taken all kinds of new shapes and it's done many things over the last few years. So we thought we might take a little time just to reintroduce Siamo and talk about what it is, what we do, and how we do it.
Yes, exactly. And a couple of, let's start from the name. Let's start from the basics.
Ground up.
And then move from there, because we were actually guests on a podcast recently, and it never even occurred to me that our URL and our social media accounts are a little misleading on what our actual company name is. Our company name is Siamo, and it is pronounced Siamo with the C, like the big blue sea. And amo, A-M-O, or whatever ways phonetically you want to remember that. It is not Siamo, so I've heard that, and I'm like, nope. It's a C, like the Spanish and Italian, yes, or the big blue sea.
And
whichever
spelled that
helps.
way, so it's spelled with an S.
Yes, and it's spelled with an S. But also, that is our full name. Our full name is not We Are Siamo. We do have that as our website URL because, well, Siamo.com was not available. And therefore, also all the other social media platforms and the other places because, again, just the name was short enough and I guess used enough already that it did not exist. The other piece that we have mentioned in when we're guests of podcasts is that Siamo is we are for Italian. So in theory, it is we are. When you look at, our social media or our website URL.
Yeah. And we started that. Why did we call it that?
Oh, all right. So we call it that because we riffed through a few very, very long and boring names. Like I think one of them was Optimum Talent.
Yeah.
It's,
Killing it.
And then there was something else, people related. But we called it that because we were looking for something short and easy to remember, but also that embodied what we care about, which is the humans. And so by what it means, we are, it really, it does two things. It focuses on the we part, on the collective, and it focuses on the existence. And so a lot of what we had experienced was, we've got resources and numbers and assets and whatever you want to call the humans in a company. And we're like, but they're humans. They're actually existing, soul-filled, emotional humans. And so in our name, we wanted to focus on that. Like, can we focus on the human as an existing being?
Mm-hmm. And we wanted to also highlight the plurality of that. The we are is
Yes.
about the connections and the collective, the idea that there is more power in a group of people than there are in the individuals, and that it's not just about a group of talented individuals, it's about what they can do and achieve together. And so we focused a lot of our work on how we help people work together well. And that sometimes means working with individuals, and sometimes it means working with whole groups, and sometimes it means we're working with whole organizations. But it's all about how do we help people understand their own place and understand where they can go, where they can connect with individual other people, where they can connect with groups, and how they can work as an entire organization, which actually is why we structured our book that way. We wrote a book last year called The Authenticity Upgrade, and that started from the individual into the team, into the organization, talking about how can you access your own authenticity, how do you bring that to other people, what is the benefit of doing that, because there are huge benefits of that just at a human level, but also at an organizational level, when you can watch people actually click into the things that they are good at and do well together. These connections are what make us powerful, capable. If you've listened to our last podcast on accountability, you know that we are a little bit into the idea of like, you're going to have to come together a little bit to do this, and it's not going to be about the individual. And this is something we've seen in teams over and over again. You can have people who are incredibly talented, but until they actually lean on each other, until they understand each other, it's hard to get them to really access their full potential. And when they do, it's really exciting to watch what is possible.
Yeah.
Because suddenly things that seemed immovable move, things that were impossible to climb, you're on top of. It's wild.
It is wild. Yeah, it definitely is. And so you mentioned the book. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is all the list of things that we do and what we provide and how we help. We help in different ways. The book is one of them, The Authenticity Upgrade, which does go through that journey from I need to understand what my own existence means to me and how can I show up in fully authentic existence to then, apply it to relating to others, bringing groups together, and providing even like the capability for organizations to really operate in that authentic, full human way. And also with AI. So we do have a chapter on AI. So the book is one of them. Well, you're listening to the podcast, so clearly we have a podcast.
We also have that. You've already found that.
Yes. Which again, it goes back to the human part. You also know the name because you found it and you're listening, but the name is Uncover the Human. So the podcast may need a little less introduction than everything else.
Yeah, that talks about what we do within companies, which we go we do some individual coaching, we do team coaching. That happens a lot just in a lot of our projects because it's a lot about how teams come together. But what we've also distilled is a full leadership development program, which has many different aspects to it that we've broken out into different accelerators. So there are things that we work teams through so that they can have an experience doing things like learning to be coaching leaders. They can learn how to change management the human way. So change agility, figuring out how you can actually change with people and help reduce resistance. Then we have accelerators in listening better in team cohesion, using things like the working genius and how do you work for flow and satisfaction. And so these are the places that we have worked with before, and this is what our entire leadership development course comes to. But it's also split into pieces that are a lot more digestible for one team at a time.
Yes, indeed. Yes. We also do provide strategic consulting with the human, on the human side of things. So cultural transformations consulting, strategic consulting, especially for organizations that are going through a change of any kind, but especially like an organizational change, some sort of change. We were actually just talking to one of our clients, and with all the technology and AI revolutions that's happening now, there is that piece, which is very important, or figuring out like, how do you bring a technology into a company? How do you integrate it? What does that mean? But there's the human component of that. And it's, understanding like, how do we bring the people along into something like that, as well as a new structure, a new process, a new something. I was talking yesterday with somebody, with an MBA student who's about to graduate, and how if we look at change as in it's constant. Yes, change is constant. It's all around us. So it's not just big change projects. There's change everywhere, which is why we talk about change agility. And one of the things that we do from a consulting point of view, and by bringing in the various tools at various places when needed, is that how do we create change agility so that it doesn't have to be this big, heavy, dreaded, disruptive event every single time. And so having, the catalyst for that helps to then start creating those muscles. So that's another offer that we provide.
Yeah, that's one big one. And traditionally, a lot of people would call that, it would have been called change management. It's what people help with that. That has become more of a taboo word because people have had a hard time with it, mostly because it's approached the non-human way. It's approached through, we'll just have a very set plan. We'll go through these exact 5 phases and it'll be linear and clean, and that's what will help us get through this. Yeah. And it's very alluring, but we've all had so many experiences in it now we're like, this doesn't work. That's why we call it change agility, and why we work with change in the human level, because that's where it needs to happen. Helping people really understand what's in it for them, get the buy-in, move past the fears, and get to the changes that need to happen and feel okay with making transformation a more constant event rather than, oh God, it's happening again. Duck and cover.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, duck and cover. That is very much what we see happening when there isn't that muscle built, when there isn't that human focus. So beyond the people focus of the traditional ways of like, oh, we've got a communication plan and a training plan and an adoption plan and a whatever stakeholder analysis. Okay. Yes, you're looking at the people component of the project, but the human part of that is, what are the people going to go through? Can we help them in their journey? What are their journeys? Yes, there's going to be 1,000 different journeys, and we can deny it. We can kick and scream and say, we can't handle that. You're going to have to, at some point, figure that out. You don't have a choice if you actually want to get to the other side of that future state. And so we definitely have, we do a lot of that. We build trust so that then we can help people go through whatever journey is happening around them and in their jobs, whether it's AI, whether it's in a new team, whether I'm a new leader, whatever that is. And one of the things that we are now offering that's new this year that we started, we've had one of them. We've had one last month, and we're going to do a couple more every couple of weeks, is webinars that are publicly available, so that it's not just, hey, unless your company hires us, you don't get to work with us or get
benefit
value
some,
or benefit
humanity.
from some of these things, some humanity. Like we are offering webinars. We're offering some free ones. We're going to offer some paid workshops that get a little bit deeper, but those are the ways of like, hey, I'm an individual and I kind of want to learn this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all humans, but it's just, we're not given a manual. And so we have spent time compiling everything that we've learned in our experience and in everything that we have been taught and certified in. We're boiling these into things that help people just live a more human life, particularly in the workplace since we spend so much time there, but just living a more human life. We all have more capacity than we believe we do sometimes, and it's helpful to be able to access that, and we enjoy sharing this work. So now we have that, and we have a few different just kind of free giveaways just to get yourself started on things, and ways to discuss the book, ways to approach change, ways to think about burnout. These are the ways to just not let inhumanity take over.
Yes, exactly. And we also have assessments, so very quick, fast assessments that are on our website, wearesiamo.com, as we discussed at the beginning, where you can either evaluate like, hey, like, what are my values? What's stopping me from showing up authentically? What's draining my energy? Or from a team perspective, like, hey, like this team, like they're great people, but they're not quite gelling. I'm seeing some gaps. The assessment can be the first way to like start looking at some of the things. They're free. And from the organizational point of view, like I want the organization to move this way. What are we missing here from a change perspective, from a restructuring, from a transformation, from an adoption perspective, and a change agility perspective? And all of these are out there. The more we build, the more we're going to put out there. So definitely keep track of all our giveaways and resources.
Yeah, so if you can,
which are not people. They're actual documents. And tools.
Digital resources.
Yes.
Including recorded webinars. So feel free, if you can't join us live, you can take some of those too. And so we hope to see you on a live webinar or some way to meet you soon, or maybe come be on the podcast. We'd love to talk.
Yes. Yeah. We're always looking for guests, and we're always looking for podcasts that will have us as guests. We actually love being guests. Yeah. So if you have a podcast and you're looking for guests, we are available. Just let us know.
Yeah. We have a few of those coming out we'll be promoting in the next month.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Hope to see you soon.